Hey guys, all right, so now I wanted to talk about putting a poster together in PowerPoint. So the first thing that we want to do is open PowerPoint and create a blank presentation. PowerPoint by default, right, is going to open some size of presentation, whatever size it feels like on that particular day. But you want your poster to be a very specific size. So your poster is going to be 2 feet by 3 feet, which is a fairly sizable, my hands are too big for the screen, so like fairly sizable thing. So that is, how do we do that? That's under design. Let me move my head a little bit, and slide size. And we want a custom slide size. So we want the width to be 36 inches and the height to be 24 inches. And landscape is the way we want to view this. And I don't even know what that means. That's just for viewing in PowerPoint, so we don't really care. Now it kind of looks like nothing happened, but you will notice now that we are zoomed to 26%, where previously we were zoomed to like 80% or something like that. You don't want any of this stuff particularly on here. So this is now 3 feet wide by 2 feet tall. First thing that you might want to do is think about a background color. PowerPoint also has lots of these different format design options, but some of them might be okay. You can kind of look around, but generally I find too much stuff in the background distracting on a poster. So I prefer to just go with a single color. Head keeps getting in the way here. All right, so solid fill, you can do a gradient fill too, like that's kind of pretty sometimes if you want to play around with that. I'm just going to go with a solid color, and let's go with this blue color. I'm not into that. Okay, sky blue looks good. Lighter is generally better on a poster because the darker you get, the less contrast there's going to be between any text that you put on this poster and the poster itself. All right, so back to our home screen. First thing to add is a title of some sort. Now, this text size is 18 right now. I'm going to bump this up to something really large because we want the title to be really prominent, the first thing everybody's going to see when they look at your poster. And I also want this centered on the poster. I can see where the 0 is. PowerPoint will help me out a little bit with some guides, for where this is going to be. So now I've got my title on here. I can always edit that later, right? And I also at the top want to put, I'm going to make this slightly smaller. So your name, your major at the top, also centered underneath the title someplace, right? One nice thing that PowerPoint will do, and this is true of any of these kind of editing softwares, is once you're happy with both of those and they're centered, you like the width between these things, you can select both of them and right click to, let's see, oops, that didn't work. I didn't get both of them. Okay, never mind. Must be. Where's my group? Format. Group. Takes me a little bit. So under the drawing tools, that's going to be active anytime you have something selected. So now I've got both of these things grouped together, which means that if I move them around, they're going to move as a unit together. So if I decide I want them to be higher, lower, whatever, they're still one unit. Another nice thing that you can do with colors, so if you decide I want my background to be this light blue color and I've chosen this color scheme, is that the text itself, which is here, so this is the text color, right? So I could change it all to red, which is a little jarring right now. But I can also, since this was my color of the background, PowerPoint, just like GIS, also has these graduated color scales. So I can go with a color that is along that same scale, but is the darkest end of it, so that my two blues, they're the same hue, they're just different sort of saturations and values of that blue to make this one darker than that one. So that's nice. Okay. Next thing we might want is some text over here for where my abstract is going to go. All right, and these we might want to, you know, like different sizes. It's going to be mostly just dependent on you for visualizing different things, whether you like, you know, does that size look big enough for you? I'm going to make that same blue color, or maybe it's a little too small. Text within, so copy, paste. You can copy your abstract into that, you know, text, blah, 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 whatever it is here. It's great. Sometimes you want the title to be slightly bigger, so, you know, I'll make it just slightly bigger so that it visually looks appealing. So let's say I want my, you know, abstract is going to end up, you know, only that big, something like that. I can then, you know, copy paste this into a version so that all my text size is the same. I don't have to worry about that. It's a nice feature. PowerPoint also has these guides on it, right? So you can make sure that your text is sort of aligned. It'll kind of snap to those areas automatically. Another nice thing that you can insert are boxes to kind of, you know, say like, all right, here are the extents of my text. This is going to box out my abstract, make it kind of look a little bit more professional. In this case, I want no fill on it, but I do want the line to be that same dark blue color. And maybe I want the line width to be, you know, a 2-point line or something like that, just to make it stand out a little bit bigger, right? And if this, hopefully your abstract is more than one sentence, but, you know, I would want it to hug my text wherever my text ends up. Just like we did before, you can group these guys, group, and that way, you know, they will move together across the screen to wherever you want to position stuff. Another thing that that you probably want on here are some pictures, right? So let's go, oh, you can see what I was just doing. Let's go over to Google Images, and let's say we want a picture of a mountain lion or a mountain climber, whatever it is. For this particular poster, we are not going to worry too much about open source images. These pictures are not being published anyplace else, you know, in the world. So it's okay if you don't cite, you know, the sources of your picture. If you were giving this poster, actually printing it out and giving it at a professional society meeting or something like that, then you would definitely want to look for pictures with a Creative Commons license, as well as make sure that you're attributing the source of it. So Wikipedia is a good source that's generally open source. Right click to copy that image, and then I can paste it in here. And I can resize this, right, to be whatever size I'm going to use for my introduction, which is going to include a box with no fill, but this nice 2-point blue outline. All right, so then I've got, you know, all of these that I can also group together, group. and move around as you wish. One other thing that's kind of nice is just familiarizing yourself also that here in my format, my picture tools, there's also these options for aligning things. So I can align those on the left. If I have like multiple images under the align tool, there's also a distribute. If I had 3 things selected, this would be an option. Here, let me triangle, circle, and okay, so I will show you that. So if I select all 3 of these, then I can align these on the top. Looks like they already were, and then I can distribute them horizontally here. Okay, let's try that again. Let's say I was like, oh, okay, I'd like all these 3 things to be arranged in a nicer way. They started out arranged in a nice way. First thing is to align them in the top, and the next thing is to distribute them horizontally. So now there's an equal space between this one and this one as there is between that one and that one. And then I can right click to group these guys, and I've got my nice map elements or whatever it is that I've decided to put on that poster.